Welcome! This short session covers the topic from a previous virtual networking event. Each month we focus on a different theme, and in March the focus was networking. For those of you who are new, my name is Jennifer Pearsall. I've spent about a decade working in emergency management, primarily in disaster response and training. Today I work with organizations to build and improve internal mentor programs, which naturally connects to helping people build strong professional networks. Before the networking portion of the event, I shared a few practical tips and ideas to help people approach networking in a way that actually feels useful and manageable. That's what I'm going to walk through here. Overall, I have one goal of this session: make networking suck a little less. Today's session will not be all-encompassing, but should give you enough to hate networking a little less and make doing it a little easier. Before we begin, I'd like you to pause this video and reflect on what the most difficult part is for you when it comes to networking. I found that for most people, it falls into one of these 4 challenges. For me, I struggle the most with starting the conversation. As we go through the tips and tricks, know that I too am using these. I've used these tips at a Chamber of Commerce breakfast event recently where I knew absolutely no one, and also at a large-scale conference where it could be so easy to get lost in the shuffle. So why does networking even feel so difficult? Networking can feel hard because of multiple psychological factors. These range from a fear of rejection to imposter syndrome to a lack of confidence and cognitive overload. Most of these can be overcome with tools and practice. Today, you'll receive the tools, but it'll be up to you to practice. Much like learning a new sport, an instrument, or a language, it takes consistent practice till it can become second nature. If you remember nothing else though from this slide, know that if networking feels uncomfortable, nothing is wrong with you. So what even is networking? We're talking about it, but what is it? Networking is the proactive process of building and maintaining relationships with individuals who can provide support, information, and opportunities. It's a give and take and includes fostering mutually beneficial connections. Networking is not simply collecting contacts or transactional interactions focused solely on personal gain. It is building a relationship. It is not about a single transaction. So let's reflect on this for a second. Let's say I had a job come up for a school teacher. Who in your network comes to mind? When was the last time you spoke with them? Now, can you think of 5 more potential people for the role? When was the last time you spoke with those people? Oftentimes, it's not about who someone should think of, it's about who someone does think of, and that person is usually who's top of mind when an opportunity comes up. Someone they've talked with, seen, chatted with, connected with in one way or another. One of the biggest complaints I hear from people who say they hate networking is that it feels too transactional. So let's break down what it is and is not. So what is networking? Networking is not asking strangers for jobs. It is not one-time conversations. It is not collecting random contacts. And it is not only asking for help. Networking is about staying visible, staying helpful, and staying in touch. At the end of the day, it's not about who can do things for you. It's about who would want to refer you. So what does this even look like? Networking is not a personality trait. It's a process, and processes can be learned. So every networking situation fits into this process, or this loop. So let's learn some tips on how to navigate this loop more effectively. Tip 1, starting conversations. This, for most, can be the most difficult part. As someone who has gone to far too many networking events, led trainings to thousands of strangers, and have responded to disasters with a variety of new-to-me people, here's what I found that helps. Use short introductions. This will be easier to remember for both you and them. Ask about their work. Be genuine. Ask how they got into it. Even if you assume how they did, their story might actually surprise you. Some of the most unique conversations I've had centered around the windy path people took to get to where they are now. Some other real example openers I've seen and sometimes use: "I'm new, what's your name?" Literally a coworker of mine used this, and I steal it because it completely just lowers the tension in the room and any anxiety someone might have. So it is very helpful. Another trick is notice what someone carries, has with them, or is wearing. So for instance, I have one of those giant water bottles with the stickers all over them. So if someone saw that, they might say, "Oh, you have stickers from around the country. You must travel a lot." They've noticed something, they made a comment, now I can continue the conversation with them. Another might be what they're wearing. Maybe it's a school that you know of. You can say, "Which program did you go to there?" Finally, as a bonus tip, consider getting a wingwoman or wingman for networking. If you're really stuck, see if this coworker of yours can introduce you to someone that they think would be good for you to meet. It's like a pre-vetted warm introduction. Great, you met someone. Now, how do you actually introduce yourself? Simple intros are like good brand slogans. Short, easy to remember, and memorable. As Nike says, just do it. Here's an easy structure to use. I, what you do, with, who you work for. I'm here to learn more about, and insert one or two things. So here's 3 examples for 3 different types of people. Maybe you're new, or aspiring, or current student. You might say, "I'm studying public relations at the University of Central Oklahoma. I'm here to learn how to network with professionals." Maybe you're in a category of you're transitioning. You were in one field and now you're moving into a new field. You might say, "I'm transitioning into emergency management field from the military. I'm hoping to learn more about the current challenges in the field." And if you're seasoned, it might sound like, "I build mentor programs for public, private, nonprofit, and higher ed organizations. I'm here to meet other professionals." The goal is to give the person enough information to want to talk to you or ask you more questions. You're not giving them your entire life bio. You're planting a little seed and seeing what sprouts. Personally, during a multi-day or at least a full-day training, as people give their intros, I like to write down everyone else's name, where they're sitting, and a tidbit about them. This way, as more things are said, I might notice who I want to talk with later. So when we go on break or after the class, I can go to them and ask additional questions. But you might be saying, why not focus on a title? Everyone introduces themselves with a title. You didn't have a title in anything. Well, people do love to introduce themselves with long titles. But let's take the example of emergency management specialist. If you saw this job posted, here are some of the things that could actually mean. Everything from planning to training to operations to public assistance. These are all examples of work someone who has that title might be in charge of. This is to say that everyone thinks of something else when they think of the title. So instead, you want to focus on 1 or 2 things you do instead of your title. What you do, not what you're called. Your turn. In the comment section, type your intro. Trust me, the act of thinking, creating, and writing will help you with memory. Please feel free to pause this video to complete this before moving forward. For me, I might say, my name is Jennifer Pearsall. I build mentor programs at EM Wellness. I'm hosting this session because I'm hoping to make networking easier for others. So now that you're meeting people, how does this even look at large events? Is there anything special you should do? And really, how do you survive them without getting so overwhelmed and giving up? I found these tips to be a little bit helpful, quite a lot of it helpful, and I use them, truly. Set small goals. This would be my number 1 tip. It is far too overwhelming to try and remember every single person you see. So instead, create a goal for the event. For me, I typically aim to really get to know 3 people a day. Next, use your intro. Have it, be ready to use it. After that, write at least one note about each person. For me, I like to write down where I met them, when, and any tidbits I learned about them, and if they mentioned any interests or hobbies. I refer to these notes when I want to follow up with them. And speaking of following up, make sure that you do that within 24 hours. Whether they were a great contact or not, you want to still follow up and maintain that relationship to at least some degree. Okay, so you started the conversation. Now what? Here's your 3-question safety net. What do you do? How did you get into it? What are you working on? These are 3 golden questions that are easily applicable. They are also generally safe questions. You're not asking, how's it going? They could be in the middle of downsizing staff. You're not asking if they like their job. They may actually hate their job at the moment. Who knows? But saying that, if you don't like these questions, that's okay. They make you cringe for some reason, then create your own 3. Not more, not less. 3 gives you enough to work with without forgetting what to ask. One question I recently received was, how do you know what to say after that? Well, you listen. Based on what they say, you can add to the conversation with your experience. Ask a question to gain more of their insight, or if they're more boring than watching paint dry, you can quickly thank them and notice someone else in the room that you need to go chat with. Or the old, so sorry, I've got to take this, phone call or text. But what about reaching out online in cold connections? As in, neither of you know each other, nor have you ever met. When you reach out, especially on LinkedIn, tell them why you're connecting or messaging. What about them specifically made you want to reach out? Did they have a similar background? Do they have the same job that you want? Show the person you did the 30 seconds of research on them. Maybe you even went to the same school, or you both served in AmeriCorps. Who knows? Whatever it is, let them know. Next, try to put yourself in their shoes. They are a busy professional that have their own internal people asking them questions all day long. So when you reach out, be sure that whatever you're asking them isn't something Googleable. For example, don't ask them how to apply for a job when the job process is listed on the company website. Finally, even if the call or chat wasn't that useful, always send a thank you message, ideally with a specific thing they said that made you think or was interesting. I'll admit, sometimes you have to dig a little deep for this. Congratulations, you met and you talked. Now what? After meeting someone, add them on LinkedIn. Send a short thank you. Mention what you talked about. And ask, is there anyone else I should talk to? As far as that last point, I think this is the most important out of all of them. Why is that? You've likely had a 20-minute to 1-hour conversation with someone who has learned about you, your goals, or your interests, and they have a little bit of a gauge of your know-how. They are in the best place to recommend someone to talk with. If they have someone that comes to mind, ask them if they could give you an e-introduction. That's where they introduce you to the person that they think you should talk with. I find those helpful because oftentimes I learn a little bit about who the other person is in that e-introduction. I can also see how I'm being introduced. Sometimes when you ask if anyone has come to mind, they don't have an answer right away. That's okay. Just reference this in your follow-up message and see if they reply. Personally, I see this last tip as the best networking tip for introverts too. It allows you to meet someone that's pre-vetted without having to find them. Congratulations! You know everything you need to know, or at least to start. You learned that networking is a process. Now you need to take a few steps and practice. You need to identify opportunities to network, prepare your intro, engage in conversations, follow up after you've talked with people. So with that, thank you for watching this recorded session about networking tips and tricks. If you'd like a copy of the accompanying PDF of effective networking strategies, tips for professional success, please scan the QR code on the screen. Don't worry, you don't have to log in, give any information away, or anything like that. It just takes you directly there. If you had a favorite tip or insight, drop a line in the comment section. Once again, thank you for joining and happy learning!